Good morning, everyone. To tell a story about a doctor who came into a hospital room to examine two patients who were two beds side by side. They both had broken legs. So the doctor examines the first patient and he starts lifting his leg and moving it this way, and the patient's screaming in pain. After the exam, he goes to the next patient and he moves his leg this way and that way, and the patient doesn't emit one sound, one cry. When the doctor leaves the room, the first patient says to the second one, "You're the strongest person I've ever met. That was the most painful exam, and you didn't even omit a little peep, no cry, no agony, no pain." And the second patient said to the first patient, "What do you think? I gave the doctor the broken leg. I gave him the other leg." In this week's parsha, we have about the three sons of Levi. Levi had 4 children, a daughter by the name of Yocheved, who was the mother of Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam, and then 3 sons, Gershon, Kahas, and Merari. And they had the honor of carrying various items of the Mishkan, the tabernacle. Kahas, he carried the holy items, like the menorah and the shulchan and the aron, the ark. He carried the vessels. Gershon carried the walls, the curtains, and Merari carried the beams and the sockets and the foundation of the Mishkan. Now when we read about this, we may say, what does this have to do with our lives? We don't have a Mishkan. Do we really need to know who transported which items? But we know that every human being is a miniature sanctuary. So these 3 dimensions of the 3 brothers of Levi who carried various items are also reflected in our own psyche, in our own psychological framework, and understanding different dimensions to our being. And Chassidus explains it in the following fashion. The word kahas, literally, we find in Bereshis, v'lo yikas amim, means harmony. There are those individuals that they merit and succeed in life to create perfect harmony within themselves. Like the level of kahas, all the vessels of the tabernacle, the inner tabernacle, are functioning in coordination, in peace, and in harmony. There's no inner battles and conflicts. The person is a integrated, harmonious, balanced, a healthy person. That's the ideal. But then there's the lower level. What's the lower level? Gershon. The word Gershon, you may be familiar with the word gerushin, which means divorce. But it really means to drive out, expulsion. There are those people, which was probably most human beings, that we do have immoral sensations and impulses and drives. But we need to expel them. We need to constantly do battle to reject those, that they shouldn't be a hazard to us, a moral, spiritual danger. And like the walls that the Bnei Gershon carried, we have to create boundaries not to allow these negative drives to invade our inner being. And that's our avoda, that is our service of God. We haven't created this integrated, harmonious inner self, but we're able to drive away these negative desires. At least we have the discipline and the control to not allow them to invade our inner psyche. But then there's the lower level. And what's the lower level? Merari. Merari, everyone knows the word maror. Maror means bitter herbs. Merari is bitterness. There are those people that sadly, they're not successful. And the immoral thoughts and drives do invade their inner being. And they feel sad, they feel dejected. They say, why am I like this? Why do I have these negative character traits in my being? But the lesson is, and this is so powerful, that that's also the part of the service of God. The fact that it bothers you, the fact that you are dissatisfied with yourself, the fact that you feel frustrated, the fact that you feel unhappy, that why am I this way? I want to be better. That in itself is a service of God. Because, they say, what's the difference between ignorance and apathy? So the guy said, the difference between ignorance and apathy is I don't know and I don't care. If you don't know and you don't care, that's the real darkness. But at least if you know what's right and wrong, and you care about it, and you want to be better, as long as you have the desire to improve, and you're frustrated, and you're bothered by the fact that you're not the way you should be, like the Merari, the bitterness of Merari, you have the foundation for everything positive. All good things could occur when you at least know what your problems and your challenges and your faults are, and you're bothered by it. As they say in Yiddish, there's an expression that says, knowing the makkah, knowing the illness, is half of the cure, half of the refuah. A good diagnosis is half of the remedy. But if you don't even have a diagnosis, if you're putting up the wrong leg and pretending like you don't have a problem, then you're surely not going to get cured. At least if you're dealing with the struggle and the pain, there's hope. I heard an interesting story recently. There was a guy in Israel who would visit houses of ill repute. He would go to certain places, and he was once going to a certain place in Tel Aviv where he would like to go for his immoral desires. And as he's walking to this place, he sees a religious Jew coming down the block, and the religious Jew didn't know which street he was walking on, and his eyes caught a hold of one of the pictures on this building. And the minute the religious Jew saw the picture, he turned away and looked on the ground and walked by. And this other person saw this, and he felt so sad. He said, look at me, I can't control myself. I go night after night to these terrible places. And look at this person. He was able to have the self-control that the minute he saw something inappropriate, he was able to turn away and walk down the street. And he started to feel really sad about his condition, his self. And even though he had every intention of going in, by witnessing what that person did, he turned around and he walked away and he went home. The idea is when you feel a sense of self-frustration and disappointment with yourself, why am I not better? That's like the Merari. That bitterness can be the sockets, the foundation for building a beautiful tabernacle for Hashem.